came across this video making 100K as an aerial lineman. Now, what is an aerial lineman? I'm just assuming that an aerial lineman is someone who works in the air, but according to this, it's probably a guy who works under a helicopter or off in a helicopter. When I think of a lineman, I think a lineman can do anything related to working on power lines, whether that's helicopter, climbing a pole, working out of a bucket truck. But this CNBC article, this video, it says making 100K a year as an aerial lineman. So let's hop into it. Let's see what they have to say.
You have to always be alert, always be on your A game. It don't take much voltage to stop your heart.
John Brooks is part of a skilled team that installs and repairs the world's most high voltage power lines. Live wires coursing with more power than 400 electric chairs. There's
little chance of survival if you get into something bad. Severe burns, you can lose arms and legs and you're not gonna go home from it.
In fact, dozens of power line workers die each year. But for these guys, the danger is amplified even further because they do most of their work using helicopters. You see, John and his teammates are what you call aerial linemen. Their employer, Haverfield Aviation, specializes in servicing power lines that can only be accessed by chopper in some of the country's most unforgiving terrain.
Helicopters are dangerous and power lines are dangerous. When you put the two together, you have double danger.
Helicopters are dangerous and power lines are dangerous. When you put the two together, you get double dangerous. I love blue collar terminology. It's just the most simple, to the point, logical explanation in words for anything.
That's John and his teammates headed to a rusted out service tower high up in the Appalachian Mountains.
Oh, I was right.
To get there, they're dangling from a chopper traveling at breakneck speeds, all while wielding chainsaws.
There's so many things that we have to watch for. It's pretty mind-boggling.
To make matters worse, most of John's work is done hovering at an elevation most chopper pilots are trained to avoid, called the dead man's curve.
When I'm about to do something and I think, well, if I cut this corner, I can get it done faster, I remember my kids and my wife at home, and that stops me dead in my tracks because I don't want my kids standing over my casket crying because Daddy took a shortcut.
Despite the dangers, John says he knew he wanted the job the moment he saw the Haverfield team in action.
He made a good point. That's why I reiterate about cutting corners and taking shortcuts that can get the job done faster, an hour, 2 hours, a day, a week faster. What's more important? The job getting done on time or before deadline, or being able to go home to your wife and kids? You know, you always have the supervisors like, we got a deadline, we got to get this done, on time or before time, blah, blah, blah. And it's because, well, the faster you get it done, the more of the commission check they get. It's all money. You can follow them out. I don't feel like getting into that. But yeah, he makes a good point about just like safety. I mean, this is extremely dangerous job. So cutting corners is not a good habit to get into.
Where I live, there's not a whole lot of jobs. So the good Lord really blessed me when he moved me here. I'm just an old hillbilly. Never one time have I ever been on an airplane or anything before I hired in here.
While the average power line worker makes about 67 grand a year,
the average power lineman makes around $67,000 a year. Now I'm going to say that's an average, like I was mentioning earlier about being in the South. You're going to make way less money in the South versus you're going to make like on the East Coast or West Coast or in the Midwest areas as well. I know you can make a lot more money than that, but I'm sure, like I said, that's an average across the nation. So whether you're not working in California, you can make $300,000 a year. You work in Alabama, you make $45,000 a year. So it all depends on where you work, who you're working with, and what job you're doing and what contract and stuff is going to determine how much money you really could make. And you can make a lot more than $67,000 a year.
Aerial linemen can make a lot more.
I probably make around $90,000 a year to $100,000 maybe. And I'm not one of the top paid guys. For me, it's not all about the money. Truth of it is, people goes to Six Flags and pays a lot of money to get to take a little old ride, and I get paid to do something even better than any of that. Keeping the national grid going is very important. I can get emotional thinking about it, but I am privileged. I've been
Yeah,
blessed.
he makes another great point right there. It's not always about the money. It's actually a lot of it's about just being a service to the community and just doing your part for society. Like a lot of trades, right? Not just the lineman trade, whatever trade you work in or you want to work in. Each trade plays their part in society and being a part of the community. He also mentioned in there saying something about you could pay a ton of money to go to Six Flags and ride on rides, or you can get paid to ride on our helicopters and do this stuff. Dude, line work's fun. I love doing it. You have so much versatility about what you do and where you work, and there's so many different applications. So he makes a really good point there. Yeah, so that was an interesting video. I'll have that tagged in the description down below if you want to go check it out yourself. It's just a 2.5 minute video. But yeah, it's interesting. Becoming an aerial lineman, whether you're union or non-union. If you're a union journeyman lineman like I am, and obviously a lot of people I know, we don't have technically like classifications of I'm only an aerial lineman, or I'm only a transmission lineman, or I'm only underground lineman, or I'm only distribution. As a journeyman lineman, we are supposed to be able to do anything from distribution to transmission to underground to helicopter work to any in between. So that was a pretty cool video, interesting. Obviously, I know about the guys working on helicopters and stuff, but hey, if you want to become an aerial lineman, I suggest become a lineman first, a union journeyman lineman. If you want to learn more about that, go to our website. Me being a lineman, I have a bunch of information on there that can legitimately get you started as soon as you want to, give you a bunch of information, get you a little bit more taught on the trade itself. And I'll have a link in the description for the website and the lineman career, where you can go learn a ton more about the lineman trade. And with that being said, you can learn how to make well over 6 figures if you want to. You can make anywhere from 50 grand to 400 grand. It just all depends on where you want to work, what kind of work you want to do, and who you're working for. Basically, that's it. With Blueprint, I'm here to expose, teach, and educate you about blue-collar career opportunities and things that'll help you in the skilled trades. With that being said, I'll catch you on the next one.